Hello, and welcome to what episode is it? 36 of the Sarah Seams podcast. My name's Sarah, and I'm coming to you from Columbus, Ohio, where I live with my partner Troy and our cats Alex, Moo, and Elsie. If you hear some background noises, that's probably them running around. This is my little corner of the internet where I share all about my crafty projects. It's a lot of knitting, especially today, very knitting heavy, but I do have one sewing whip to talk about today as well. And I do sometimes have crochet and spinning and all kinds of other fiber arts. It's been about 3.5 weeks since my last episode, and I'm excited. I have a lot to share with you today, as usual. And yeah, we can jump right in. All of my social media information as well as my email are linked in the description box below. If you have any questions about patterns or yarns or anything I mentioned today, please feel free to leave a comment and I'll get back to you with that information as soon as I can. Am I forgetting anything? I feel rusty. I keep trying to do every 2 weeks and life's getting in the way. It's been very busy around here. We are officially in fall now. It's been hot and then rainy the past few days, so it hasn't really felt like fall yet, but as you can see, I am ready for sweater weather. So let's jump right in with what I'm wearing, which is also my first finished object. I'll stand up here so you can see it. So this is the Nebula by Andrea Mowry. I knit size 5 and I absolutely love how it turned out. So this is a top down, oh, I'm lying to you, it's bottom up. This is a bottom up drop shoulder sweater. It has this really classic kind of Andrea Mowry rib detail at the shoulder with the exposed 3 needle bind off. I love the shape of the neckline on this. And then it has a little kind of straight like balloony sleeve with some decreases right before the cuff. It's so comfy. It also has this high-low hem, so it's a bit higher in the front and then it kind of curves and is longer in the back. Really cute, really comfortable and casual. The yarn combo I'm obsessed with. It's so soft and so nice. So this yarn was very kindly gifted to me by my friend Jess. When I went to visit her in North Carolina, we went through her yarn stash. And these weren't really her colors, so she passed them along to me, and I'm so grateful because I'm obsessed with this sweater. So the fingering weight yarn was from Miss Babs. It is the color Vintage Library. I think the base is Wild Iris. And it's really more almost a sport weight. So it was 390 yards for 100 grams, 75% superwash merino wool, 25% nylon, or maybe it's the Sonatina base, not sure. The fluff that I held with it, fluff, was Surrey alpaca lace from Explore Knits and Fibers from their Ireland collection, and the color was Skellig. And it just made this really beautiful kind of marled fabric. I love the color. I couldn't be more pleased with it. I've already worn it out and about a couple times, and I think it's gonna be truly like a go-to for all of fall and winter. It gets light enough that it doesn't feel super hot and heavy, but it's also warm, so love it. I'm very thrilled with it. As per all of Andrea Mowry's patterns, I feel like it takes longer than you think it's going to. Even though this is knit at a pretty large gauge, it's still a lot of knitting, especially with that high-low hem. There's like a ton of short rows at the beginning, and it's quite oversized, which I really like, but that's just a lot more knitting, especially when you're knitting a size like in the medium to larger range to begin with. So I am very happy with it. I will just throw that out there that it did take me longer than I expected, but it was a very pleasant knitting experience, and I would consider making another one because I really love the fit. Okay. Next 2 things I want to talk about are not new FOs, but I did alter them and I wanted to talk about that a little bit. So I recently knit 2 patterns by Amy Scher. So I knit her Oolong tank. Here it is. It's gorgeous. I love the lace. It's so beautiful. I finished this maybe last month or the month before, like closer to the end of summer. And the yarn I used was Kelborn Woolens Mojave which is a cotton linen blend in the color, I'm blanking on the color. Sorry, it's a dark bluish gray. Yeah, and I loved how it turned out. Then I test knit the campus vest for Amy. Here's that. This is using Harrisville Daylights in the color Lint, which I don't know if the camera will pick this up at all, but it has like a tiny hint of purple in it. Also love this. I love these like vintage buttons that I used. This fabric, when this blocked, is like unbelievably soft. Very cute. Wanted a little button-up vest for the fall. Love. However, both of them had the same fit issue. Oops. Which was that I knit, so I knit size 5 for both of these, and for both of them I knit the size 1 bust darts. And I kind of was knitting them at the same time and finished them around the same time. And if I had finished one earlier, I would have learned, but I don't need bust darts in Amy's patterns. I ended up with way too much fabric in the bust, and honestly I could probably size down in Amy's patterns because I had also too much width. And they blocked out to the correct dimensions. So maybe I just want less ease than is recommended, but regardless. So the armholes were coming out too far. They were too deep, which part of that is from the bust darts, adding height to the underarm. So what I did was, because these were both totally finished and I just needed to take like an inch or an inch and a half out of each side. Actually, it was more than that. I think I took like 2 to 3 inches out of each side on both of these garments. I just turned them, you know, inside out, right sides together, and I just sewed a side seam. So here's what that looks like on the Alllll tank. I haven't reblocked it, so it's a little bit wavy still on the Alllll tank, but you can see that I just sewed a side seam. And this is what the inside looks like. I didn't use matching serger thread, don't yell at me. I do not care about that really. It's just kind of a tan serger thread. So I sewed the seam, tried it on, and then when I knew I was comfortable with the new fit, I serged off all the extra knit fabric to finish the seam. And it worked out perfectly. You know, it really didn't add any extra bulk. Obviously there's a seam there now where there wasn't before, but you really can't tell when I'm wearing it. And it fits perfectly now. So I'm so pleased with that. An easy fix. And now these garments will be much more wearable for me. I did the same thing on the campus vest. This one was a little bit trickier just because the fabric was a lot thicker, but I think you really can barely even tell on this one. Like you can tell a little bit at the ribbing, but yeah, I just sewed in a side seam. Same thing, just serged the extra fabric off on the inside. And I actually wore this one for the first time the other day, layered it over like a little shirt with the skirt. It was very cute, and this is so comfortable and I love it now. So I just wanted to share those little alterations with you. And I'm a big proponent of like, you know, if you spend a lot of time making something and it's not quite right, like let's fix it, you know, make it wearable. So now I have both of these that are very wearable, and I've learned what I need to do for Amy's patterns in the future. And I do plan to knit more of her patterns because they're beautifully written. I love the new Hibernate sweater that she just released. I can put a picture of that in here. It's just a pretty basic classic like V-neck, but it looks kind of like the V-neck, like cozy version of what I'm wearing now. So I do foresee one of those in my future. So yeah, just a little update on those. I'm just starting a pile there. And my last FO are my crazy West knit socks. So I think I had started the second one last time. These were the Stephen West surprise sock along socks for this year. They were called the Color Opportunity socks. And I knit the first one during the knit along, the second one taking longer, but I wanted to get it done before the West Knits Go-Go Dynamo shawl knit along starts this coming week. So I did finish the second one. I can't remember which is which, but, or you know, which one I did first, but they are really fun. They're so heavy. They really feel like more like a slipper, honestly. And they're a little bit big for me. I probably could have sized down, but with socks this tall, I didn't want them to be too tight in the leg. So yeah, this was a really interesting construction. You started by casting on just this leg section, and it was knit flat. So you cast on here, and then you knit these little waves, then you knit these chevrons, and then the welts, more waves, and then you bound, well, you did the striped I-cord bind off while attaching it into a loop. So that's how you made the leg. That was the first clue. On the second clue, we made the cuff, which is just a 2x2 rib cuff, and the brioche, the 2-color brioche heel flap, which I love. I think that's such a cool detail, and it's really comfortable. I would definitely use that detail again. For the third clue, we just knit just the top of the foot. So again, you were knitting flat, and that had these garter stitch short row sections. See if I can open this up here. Yeah, with these little color pops. And then on the last clue, we knit the gusset and the bottom of the foot, also knit flat in stockinette. There was a lot of purling in these socks. And then finally the toe, which was in my third contrast color. So yeah, I'm really happy I participated in this. I would do it again next year. It's kind of like the shawl, the mystery shawl knit along, but for socks, which we all know I love socks. So yeah, I would definitely participate in this again next year. And now I have these really fun, crazy socks to add to my sock box. The main color yarn I used was Ken yarn, who I don't believe are dying anymore. The color was Ugly Stepsister, which is kind of funny. And then all my contrast colors were just scraps I had in stash. So yeah, really fun project. Definitely more labor intensive than I expected, but they turned out really fun. All right, shall we move on to whips? Does anyone want to guess how many I have? Because it's like 9 or 10. Okay, so my first whip I'm going to share with you really quickly is a sewing project. And I don't normally have sewing whips because I tend to kind of sit down and finish a sewing project in like one sitting or over a couple of days. But my sewing energy has been kind of going in and out lately. Like I'll sit down to work on something and feel really motivated, and then I only want to work on it for like 30 minutes, and that's okay. And I'm just trying to kind of go with the flow on that. So I am currently working on my second midway jacket. This is a pattern by Le Perline. I can put a picture of it in here. It is this really cute, like kind of utility like jacket. It has these giant cargo pockets on the front. It's just a really cute design. I have one already and I love it. I wear it all the time. It's like my favorite jacket that I've ever made. But it's a print. It's like a cloud print denim. And I decided that I wanted a solid brown one. So I am in the middle of working on that. I finished the body and these pockets. What's so cool about these pockets is that they have the flaps so you can open them this way, but they're also only partially sewn down, so you can also open them this way, which is just kind of nice. Like you can just put your hands in there, or you can like actually use them as a closing pocket. Really, really nice. So I still have to do the collar and the sleeves, and then it'll be done. But this gorgeous like chocolatey brown bowl denim is from Blackbird Fabrics. I love this jacket. It's pretty oversized, like it's definitely kind of swingy. But I love that because then I can wear it over anything like in the fall and winter. So in the middle of that one, hopefully I'll be finishing that up soon. Okay, and the rest are all knitting. So I have 3 sock whips at the moment. Let's start with my car project that just kind of comes around with me wherever I go, my emergency knitting, if you will. These are the basic 2x2 ribbed socks from Summerlee's book, The Sock Project. I'm slowly working my way through the patterns in that book. And I finished the first one. It's not blocked, so it looks kind of hilarious. Rib socks are the best to wear. They're so comfortable. They fit so well, but they always look really funny before you block them. So I'm using the two of the colors that she used for her sample in the book. These are both Knit Pick Stroll. The red is called Buoy and the pink is called Dogwood Heather. And she used a different color for the toe on hers, but I decided to just go ahead and use the red. Just very cute, classic rib sock. Okay, I'm torn. I need your help on this because I'm getting ready to start the second sock. And at first, I thought I'll just make it exactly the same as this one. And I do love the idea of being able to wear these with boots and having like the little red pop out of the top of the boot. But then I was thinking, would it be cute if I did the second one in the inverse colors? So if I did pink as the contrast color and red as the main color. I feel like that would be very cute if I just want to wear them around the house, but if I want to wear them out, I probably want them to match. But I really can't decide. I think both would be cute. So please let me know below. Do you think I should make the second one exactly the same, or should I do it like inverse and have cute like mismatched socks? Would love to hear your feedback on that. So yeah, I have not cast on the second one yet, but hopefully we'll do that soon with your feedback. Okay, second one is my test knit. So I don't know if I've shown these, if I showed these last time. I think I maybe had just started. So I'm doing a test knit of these socks for Sunday Morning Knits, who is Laura. She has a great podcast. I can link her below. And she designs really beautiful socks. And I am testing these. I did finish the first sock, so that's completed the test knit. We just had to finish one by the end of the month. And let me show it to you because it is really beautiful. Another rib sock. I'm doing a lot of rib right now. So these socks are inspired by a Corinthian column, which in this case has the fluted column, meaning it has, you know, the ribbed look. It has this lace detail, which mimics the like leaves and the art on the column. And then it has this really pretty folded cuff detail at the top with that little bit of lace and the garter rows, the pearl ridges. The yarn I used is Camellia Fiber Co.'s Rainbow Sprinkles on their sock yarn. It's very cute. I love how it turned out. I feel like I don't really knit my socks this long anymore. So it again took me, it's a lot of sock. I'm excited to cast on the next one, but I'm just not quite used to knitting this much sock anymore. Maybe that means I've become a lazy sock knitter. But yes, I did go ahead and block this one, so really pleased with how it turned out. There were some issues with the numbers in the pattern around the heel. I mean, the parts where you would expect there to be an issue if there was going to be one, like, you know, the heel flap, turn, gusset. In here, it was a little bit tricky, but Laura was super responsive, very on top of answering all of the questions, which is really appreciated when you're doing a test knit. So if you happen to watch Laura, kudos on a well-run test knit. You've designed a beautiful pair of socks, and I really enjoyed testing them. So one more look, there's also a little pearl ridge right here at the foot, or right before the toe. That is one modification that I made, was to, I think in the pattern this goes all the way around the foot, and I did decide just to do it on the top of the foot. But yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I think they're beautiful, and same thing here, I need to cast on the second one. So test knit done, but still need to knit the second sock. And I have one more, but I want to cast on like 2 other pairs of socks. I don't know what's gotten into me. I have like really wild cast on energy this week, and specifically sock. I've had like a lot of sock knitting energy lately, and I've had a lot of different types of socks on the go to like hold my interest. So we'll see, but I do have the urge to cast more on. Should I? Definitely not, but do I want to? Yes. All right, last but not least, I don't think you've seen these yet. So in addition to knitting through Summer Lee's book, I also joined her Colorwork Cuff Club, which is really fun. If you haven't joined yet, or if you love to knit socks, definitely check it out. Basically, there's a flat fee, which in the first month it was like $12 for the whole year. I'm not sure what it is now, maybe $15. And every month you get a new Colorwork Cuff sock design from Summer Lee. So the first month there were 2. There were the granny stripe socks, which I can put a picture of mine here, and a really cute floral motif, which I hope to get back to at some point. And this month there was this really cute geometric motif. So I'm actually gonna put a picture of Summer's up, the September design, because I messed up my color work chart. And I want you to see what it was supposed to look like. So here's what hers is supposed to look like. And you can see that there's like a what's the word I'm looking for? A 2-row stripe, and then there's a 4-row stripe, and they alternate to make this cute like check detail in the cuff. And I messed mine up. It's still cute, but I messed mine up, and I have finished the first sock. So let me show you mine. I am obsessed. It took me so long to pick out these colors. There are 6 colors in this design in Summer's version. And I really took my time to figure out like, what is it about hers that really works? And what do I have that I can like use to mimic that? So for me, the main thing I started with was the color work, which here you can see my mistake is that all of my stripes are 2 rows. I did not read the chart right. So I don't have those bigger like square sections. So I think it's still really beautiful. It's just not quite right. So in Summer's version, the check pattern is kind of neutral. So I thought, okay, let me start with that. I had all these like shades of gray in mini skeins. So I thought, okay, that could be cute. So I started with those. And then I thought, but what is the leg gonna be? She has a really high contrast in her version. It's that same red and pink from the other socks I'm knitting. I wanted something a little bit softer. So I had this solid kind of rosy color, and then some leftovers from one of the little shawls I recently knit, which is this more like tonal variegated color. And I thought those were really pretty striped together, and kind of some of the grays came through in the tonal color. And then I decided I wanted a little pop for the cuff. Mine's not that poppy. It's a very dark teal, beautiful color. But Summer had that kind of blue on hers. So I felt like I kind of followed the formula, but I kept mine way more neutral. And you know, if this is what you're seeing, that's like really neutral and beautiful. And then it's got this kind of prettier color on the bottom. So I started knitting this one. It's super addictive, of course. And if you've been here for a few episodes, you might have heard me say on the last video when I was talking about the previous pair, you know, the granny stripe ones, that I didn't think I needed to go up to a 2.75 millimeter needle for the color work. I thought a 2.5 millimeter needle would be just fine. Well, I'm here to tell you that I was wrong, because for this pair, I used a 2.5 millimeter needle for the color work, and while it looks really good, it's too small and it will not go over my heel. So I knit to about here. I was getting ready to start the heel flap, and I decided I'm just gonna try it on and see what it looks like, and discovered that it would not go over my heel, like not even close. So I had a little sad moment, and then I decided that I am gonna knit these for a friend of mine, because I've been owing her some socks for a while, and she is coming to Rhinebeck with us in October. So I wanted to knit her socks by then anyway, so I just decided these are gonna be for her. The colors are very her. I think she'll love them. And I just carried on knowing that these were not gonna be for me, but that they were gonna be for my friend. And I do love how it turned out. I think she's gonna love it. I went ahead and used that rosy color for the toe and the heel. It just has a standard heel flap and gusset. So these are gonna be gifted. Very fun to knit. I think they're very beautiful. I love how they turned out. At first I was like, this is a lot of colors. This is kind of crazy, but that's why I love Summer Lee's patterns. I feel like she really encourages me, at least, to get like out of my color comfort zone. And I just think that, like, I never would have put something like this together if it wasn't for, you know, taking inspiration from her patterns. So I think that's awesome. And obviously she doesn't use colors like this very often, but I'm trying to use what I already have and still was able to make something really nice. So I have also started the second one. I have the color work done, the leg done, and I just finished the heel flap and the heel turn. So just getting ready to start the gusset. And I am hoping to finish these this weekend, maybe pretty soon. I just want to get them blocked and set aside, ready to take on our trip. And like I said, I want to cast on like 2 other pair of socks immediately. So as far as what I want to cast on, maybe I can show you at the end. I have a little plans section for us at the end today. All right, that's it for socks for now. Let's move on to the next 3, which I'm calling accessories and miscellaneous. I've been casting on a lot of like small things lately. Okay, so when we went to the Michigan Fiber Festival, they had a table, like a swap table set up where you could like take anything, leave anything. And I picked up these 2 skeins of yarn from the swap table to make a hat for Troy, and I have cast that on now. So the first skein was this one. Whoop, there's some fuzz on it. It's a really pretty, vibrant orange. This is Madeline Tosh Pashmina, so it's a merino silk cashmere blend. It is a sport weight. The color is Terra, so it's gorgeous, rich reddish orange. And this is a lace weight alpaca. You can tell it's old just by looking at the label. It is from the Alpaca store in Caledonia, Michigan. Circle R Ranch. The color is Cordovan, and it is 100% Surrey alpaca, but it's not really fluffy like a lot of the Surrey alpacas that you see now. It's like a pretty compact lace weight. It has a little bit of a halo, but not a lot. And I cast on an iris hat for Troy, and here's what I've got. I'm holding those together to make this fabric, and it's marling really nicely. The stitch definition is really beautiful. As I said, this is the Iris Hat by Sari Nordland. I've knit several of these. This might be my 4th one, 4th or at least 4th. I've knit quite a few of these. It's knit top down, so you start with I don't know if she doesn't call it a pinhole cast on, but I think that's pretty much what it is. It's like a closed loop cast on that you can tighten up to get that really clean start. Then you do your increases. They create this nice kind of star spiral. And then you're just knitting 1 by 1 rib forever until you have like 12 inches. And then you cast off and fold it up twice. It has a double folded brim. And yeah, it's creating a nice fabric with a lot of like structure. It's squishy, but it's definitely gonna hold its shape and it's gonna be very warm. I just think the color is really beautiful. So yeah, I haven't done too much on it yet, but he has a couple other hats. I've knit him already. I'm sure it won't be the last one, but you know, I can tell it's fall when I'm ready to start casting on hats again. It's funny, I knit all year, but I do feel like hats for some reason are very seasonal for me. Like I only want to knit them in the fall and the winter. I don't really have any interest in knitting them in the spring and summer. Anything else I'll knit anytime, but I don't know. I guess a hat is kind of like similar to a sock as far as a project goes, and most of the time I'd just rather be knitting socks. So maybe it's that. All right. I also cast on a fun little holiday project. So a couple weekends ago, I was like, I'm gonna get out the like fall kind of spooky decorations. The first weekend we had where we did have a little bit of fall weather, even though it went back to like 100 degrees the next week, I was like, it's time. So we don't have a ton of decorations, but just a few like little things, and it really got me in the like holiday spirit. And I was just in the mood to cast on something small, something like garter. I was looking through my stash, and I decided to cast on the Stella quilt cushion by Laura Penrose. Here is a picture. This is the layout that I'm doing. And let me show you the yarns I'm using because that kind of inspired the project. So I have a bunch of this cream Barocco, what is it? It's not the ultra wool. I'm blanking. It's just their like Peruvian wool. So I have that as the main color. And then I have the rest of, so the socks that I just showed you, oh my gosh, I am a mess today. I am dropping things. Okay. The socks I just showed you, the summerly ones with the checks and a little bit of dark teal at the top. This is the rest of that yarn. This is a skein of a La Bien-Aimée twist sock. Let me see if I have the color. Yes. The color is Emmeline. It's beautiful. I would really like to make a sweater in this someday. I think, yeah, it's a gorgeous color. So I only used a tiny bit of this for the cuffs on those socks, and then I wanted to use it for something else. So I'm using the white as my main color. This is one of my contrast colors. Opposite that, I have this lighter green. This is leftover of Camellia Co. Yak DK. I do not remember the color name. I want to say jade, but I don't think that's right. Maybe it was like green tea or something. Really beautiful. This is DK weight. The weights are kind of all over the place. This is like worsted. This is fingering, so I'm holding it double. And then I have the DK. And then also DK is this guy, which I just had 2 balls of this in my stash. This is a Rowan yarn. I do not have the ball band, but it's a really pretty kind of orangey red. So I'm making a Christmassy holiday Stella quilt cushion. And let me show you what I have. It looks a mess, but here's what I have so far. So this is actually the bottom. So I guess you would look at it like this. This is really fun. Again, not quite as straightforward as I was hoping. I think when I cast it on, it does require thought. It's not like a mindless project, but I was interested in maybe trying either Laura's Sweet Shop blanket or the new Stella quilt blanket. So I kind of wanted to just try this first and see how it went. So you start with a solid square and then you just kind of work your way through the pattern. It's really more of a formula once you like get in the groove of it, which is kind of nice. So you just follow along. But yeah, each square takes me about an hour. I'm definitely not like speeding through them. I'm doing it at like a very leisurely pace, but especially while I'm still trying to figure out all the different like constructions. There's 4 different techniques for the squares depending on where it is in the design. I'm just kind of taking my time with it. So you can see the gauges are a little bit inconsistent. Like obviously this is a worsted weight. The dark green is fingering weight held double, so it's a little bit smaller, but I do think it'll block out fine once it's finished. So yeah, this is going to be the dark green, and then across like the next one will be the lighter green, and then the red will be in all of the points. So yeah, it's really fun. I think it's going to be very cute when it's finished. You're supposed to knit the entire backing piece in the white yarn. We'll see if I do that or not. I might end up just sewing like a linen backing for this and sewing it to the cover, because I don't know if I want to just knit like a giant boring white square. I probably don't. So I might just knit the front and then sew it back on it. I think that's my plan. And I will let you know how that goes. No timeline for this. I'd like to have it finished by Christmas, obviously, maybe Thanksgiving, so I have time to actually use it this year. I think that's very doable. This week I was just kind of doing one triangle in the morning before I left for work, and that was a really great system. So I will say I cannot imagine knitting a blanket worth of these. Like Laura's blanket version is gorgeous, but it is so much work. I could not imagine doing that. I don't think that's for me. I have 3 blankets on the go right now, and they are very simple. I definitely prefer like a larger gauge knit blanket that's simple, or a crochet blanket. Like crochet granny squares are kind of where it's at for blankets, I think. Okay, and lastly, I know I've been influenced by the knitting podcasters now, because in my holiday thought process, I was like, I think I want a hot water bottle. I feel like this is also influenced by Laura Penrose, because she just released her 2 new hot water bottle cover patterns, which are really cute. I can put a picture of those in. There's like a fall one with like fall colorwork motifs, and a new size of the Maxine one, which I would love to knit one of those eventually. It's a gorgeous colorwork pattern. And I was like, you know, I want to try that this winter. Like, it gets really cold in my office. Sometimes it's cold at night, and the bed, I want like my feet warmed. And so I ordered one for myself, and I ordered a couple extra ones. I'm whispering because I don't want somebody to hear, as Christmas gifts. And now I'm gonna knit covers for them as part of the Christmas gifts as well. So I am starting with the cover for mine because I want to use it as soon as possible. And I figured I don't really know what I'm doing, so I would start with mine. And I decided before jumping into any of these like gorgeous colorwork covers, I would just knit a simple plain one for myself. And I'm using some of my hand spun. So this is the yarn I'm using. This is hand spun I made earlier in the summer during Tour de Fleece. I made this from a bat from a gem Fiber Arts. The colorway was California Sunset. It's so gorgeous. It just looks like orange sherbet, like sherbet? I know it's sherbet, but I always say sherbet. So to me, it's orange sherbet, even though I know that's wrong. But that's what it looks like. And it just has gorgeous like pinks and orange, and there's a little bit of like a grello-y, yellowy green kind of color. And this is like fingering weight, for sure. I didn't realize how fine it was really until I caked it up and started knitting with it. But I have more than enough here. I'm holding it double, and I'm just knitting a little plain hot water bottle cover, and I think it looks so good. I am really just so pleased with this yarn and how it is knitting up, how the color looks. I love knitting with hand spun. It's very special. Like, I don't know, it's just so enjoyable to see the color variation. Something about the content of this yarn, which was a mixed fiber bat, knitting with it feels like Noro to me. And I don't know if it has like a really high nylon content or something, or maybe it's the silk and nylon, but knitting with this feels like knitting with the Noro that I've used. So I just cast this on this morning, made quite a bit of progress on it already. I imagine these are going to be fairly quick knits. It's kind of just like knitting a giant sock toe up. This is a free pattern that I'm using for this one. I should have looked up what it was called. I can put it here on the screen. It's just a free pattern for a basic hot water bottle cover in different gauges. So they give DK and Aran weight gauge, but they also give a tool to calculate your own gauge to use any yarn that you want. They also include some helpful links for if you want to do color work on it or embroidery, you know, they give some like little tips. So I'll definitely put the name of it on the screen and try to link that one below in case anyone's interested. Yeah, I'm just really happy with it. I have plans for 3 more and I will talk about those at the end when I talk about my little plans section. Really fun to knit. I mean, like I said, you basically cast on at the bottom using Judy's Magic Cast On, work a few increases, and then just knit straight stockinette until it's long enough and you can kind of try it on as you go on the water bottle. And then you do some decreases, and then it has a little bit of 2x2 ribbing to like cover the neck. It's pretty straightforward. But yeah, just a really fun way to use up my hand spun. As much as I love this color, it's probably not something that I would wear, so I feel like this is a perfect use for it. And then I'll just get to carry it around and look at it, and it'll make me happy. So, fun cast on today. Okay, last category of whips. 3 more. These are garments. One you've seen before, and this one is almost done, and I'm very excited about it. And then the other 2 are brand new. So, first I'm going to show you Troy's Old Fashioned Cardigan. This is a pattern by Maxim Sear. I can put a picture of it in here. I am knitting this for Troy to wear to Rhinebeck. Hopefully it is not too hot, but regardless, he has to bring it and let me take a picture, whether he actually wears it or not. I am knitting size 4 for him, and let me show you what I have. The yarn I'm using is this gorgeous rich brown. It is the British Aran yarn from Les Garçons, so it is the recommended yarn. Here's the label. So beautiful. And the color is Vincent's Highland Coup. It is Aran weight, as I said, and it's 70% BFL, 30% Masham wool. I made so much progress on this. So you start with this gorgeous double folded 2x1 rib collar with short rows. Then you knit the raglan. Oh, I'm getting all tangled up here. Then you start knitting the body. So I'm more than halfway through the body. I took a break to knit the sleeves. So I have finished both sleeves. I did that this week. Really pretty decreases. There's that ribbing detail from the raglan is continued at the underarm. It's not blocked yet, but, and then there is that same 2x1 rib on the cuff. I am so happy with this. It is fitting Troy perfectly. Like, I was a little bit traumatized. The first sweater I ever knit for him was the Anchor sweater by Petite Knit, and it does not fit very well. The yoke is way too deep. He has like bat wings when he wears it. Part of that is probably also my yarn choice. I used 100% alpaca yarn, which is very heavy and very drapey and not perfectly suited for that pattern, but you live and you learn. I'm just really pleased that this one is turning out so much better. Here's the back. So I'm back on the body now. I think I have about at least 4 more inches to knit before the ribbing. Then all that's left to do is pick up the bands for the center fronts, and there are no buttons or anything. It's just meant to be worn open. So not too much more to do. I would, if possible, like to finish this by Thursday when the West Knits MCAL starts, just because I know that's going to take up so much of my time in October, and I want to make sure that this is done for him to bring to New York with us. So I did make a ton of progress on it. Getting the sleeves out of the way was so nice. I feel like I could see a lot of progress on it. In the grand scheme of things, I don't have that much left on the body, so I need to just keep plugging away on it and get that done. I'm really, really pleased with how it's turning out. It makes me want to knit more of Maxim's patterns. I just feel, sorry, I guess he goes by Max. I don't know why I'm saying Maxim. But yeah, it fits him so well. So I would definitely consider knitting more of his patterns in the future. Okay, another Laura Penrose inspired, now this, I'm gonna have to tag her below because this is a very Laura Penrose inspired episode. She is hosting the To Me From Me cowl, and the idea, or I guess it's a make along. So the idea is just to make something nice for yourself to wear in the holiday season for whatever holiday you celebrate, whatever that means to you. And it, I think, is running through the end of November. So the idea is like, take the time to make it for yourself now so that you have it to enjoy during the holidays. And I have been wanting to knit like a festive sweater. So I was also inspired. This was a dual inspiration by the Grocery Girls, who have been talking a lot about knitting with sparkle and like knitting with sequins and showing all these gorgeous projects that they've been making with sequins. And so yeah, this is my Grocery Girls Laura Penrose inspired crazy project. Oops, I don't have needle protectors on this one, so I'll try and be careful here. And this is not gonna look like anything right now. Let me put a picture in first. So I'm knitting the Big Rib by Jessie May. Here's a picture. This has been on my to knit list forever. It's very cute, big gauge. It's a 16 stitch gauge, 10 millimeter needles, or sorry, US 10, 8 millimeter? I'm lying to you, 6 millimeter needles. US 10, 6 millimeter needles. So it's a pretty big open gauge. And there's a local yarn store. They were having a sale like sometime last year, and I picked up the recommended yarn to knit this. So I got that in white, or it's like an off-white. It's looking pretty yellow on screen, but in real life, I feel like it's almost more of a cool kind of cream. This is Wool Folk Taj. It is 142 yards to 50 grams. 75% ultimate merino, 25% mohair. So it's just this really chunky, fluffy kind of mohair. And I'm holding it with sequins. So this is a silver sequin. These are Lang paillettes. The color is just silver, I think. I purchased those from Crafty Jackalope, and I'm holding them together. This looks so funny unblocked because of the rib, but here's what I have. So hopefully you can see the sparkle. It's not like, oh yeah, it is a little bit in your face. I think it's gonna be really gorgeous. I'm holding the whole thing with the sequins. So they are in there. You start with the back panel, so it's a drop shoulder, and the wide rib kind of continues along the back detail, which is really nice. Knit all the way down. It is a 4x4 rib, so it just kind of looks weird until you block it. Nice deep neckline in the front. There is some underarm shaping. Oh, I'm lying to you, there's not. Nope, that's not true. It just goes straight down. So yeah, I have joined the body, and I've knit like, I don't know, 1.5 inches or 2 inches in the body. I have tried it on. You don't cast on a lot of stitches at the underarm when you start knitting in the round, so I was a little bit concerned about the fit, but I tried it on and it fits well. It's definitely big enough around. What I'm a little worried about now is that the back is significantly longer than the front. And I think you can see that even as I'm just like holding it up. So I'm hoping that that's something blocking is gonna fix, and I'll be knitting it fairly cropped anyway, but it does feel a little unbalanced right now. But it's kind of hard to tell when it's this distorted because of the fabric. So I don't know, I'm hoping to pick up the collar soon and maybe get started on the sleeves and see if that helps to kind of balance it out, but we'll see. This knit up so fast. I knit the entire yoke in like 2 days, front and back. It's just real chunky. I think it's gonna be very, very cute. You can see the sparkle a bit, more so on this side. But it's not like super in your face, you know, but if you catch it in the right lighting, I think it will. There's a little sparkle there. I think it'll be really pretty. I am a little bit worried that it's gonna be really itchy. I think the sequins might be a little bit irritating. Now, obviously this is not something I'm gonna be wearing like every day. It's, you know, kind of like a special occasion piece. I imagine wearing it to like my work Christmas party and maybe like New Year's Eve at my friend's house or something, but I do think it might be a little bit itchy. I'm kind of nervous about putting the sequins in the neckband. I was thinking about maybe knitting that without the sequins, but I really just want sequins in the whole thing. So I think I'm just gonna have to suck it up and deal with it. But yeah, very fun holiday project. I'm curious if you've got holiday knitting on the brain yet. I know it feels early, but I also know if I don't do these things now, then it'll be too late by the time I think of it. So that one I think could be finished in like less than a week if it was all I focused on. So, you know, I kind of knit it in a frenzy, and now I'm just like putting a couple rows on the body when I feel like it. Again, no real deadline. I'd like to wear it in December, but not in a huge hurry. I'm knitting size 5, if I didn't already say that. Okay, last whip. I cast this on in a total frenzy a couple of nights ago, the day it came out. Actually, it was that yesterday? No, 2 days ago. Okay. Whew. So this is the Bergman by Caitlin Hunter. Here's a picture. It just came out on Thursday, but I've had my eye on this one. Caitlin's been posting about it on Instagram for a while, and ever since the first time she posted a preview of it, I knew I had to knit it. It is gorgeous. I love the motif. There is something about Caitlin Hunter's color work that just like hits different. Like, it's just so addictive. I knit the Alpine Bloom tee last year, and it's one of my favorite things I've ever made. So I was just really excited to cast this one on. I didn't really have yarn in mind. I just like got the urge to cast it on and went stash diving. So let me show you what I'm using. So I am using as my main color, I recently picked this up in a D-stash. This, which is Cascade BFL, it's 100% BFL, 100 grams, 262 yards. So it is a DK, it's a really pretty like light purplish gray. And for my contrast color, you may remember, if you've been here for a while, that I bought Spin Cycle Dream State to make the DRK framed sweater, which I thought was going to be my Rhinebeck sweater, and ended up not liking the Spin Cycle with my main color. I didn't think there was enough contrast. Well, it worked out because now I'm using that Spin Cycle for this project. So here's my Spin Cycle. Like I said, this is Spin Cycle Dream State. I cannot remember the colorway name and I accidentally got rid of all the ball bands. But it is this gorgeous dark purple mixed with navy and brown and gray. So these are my colors. This is my contrast color. So as I said, I cast this on Thursday at like 10 p.m. and I knit the entire collar and all of the short rows. And then yesterday I started the color work. Let me show you what I have. It's so good. So I love that the Spin Cycle is the contrast color on mine because it just gives you like all that beautiful variation. And then the light gray really like pops as the main color. I'm excited. I have no idea if I could possibly finish this in time for Rhinebeck, but if I do, I think this is what I will be taking as my Rhinebeck sweater. Now, if I don't finish a special Rhinebeck sweater in time, I have plenty of other sweaters I can wear, which is why I've been focusing on Troy's Rhinebeck sweater instead of one for myself. And I have another little update on the framed in a minute, but I just could not put this down. I could not get over how fun it was. Like I said, something about Caitlin Hunter's colorwork yokes just is very enjoyable to knit. So on the back, as I said, there are short rows. For me, those are all in the Spin Cycle. I love how the Spin Cycle got darker also, like right as the color work started. I feel like that I didn't do that on purpose. It just kind of did that on its own, but it made like a really cool little transition. It's a gorgeous color. I love the like really vibrant purple. So pretty. So yeah, I might work on this more this weekend. We will see. I definitely prefer to do color work when I'm like sitting at my desk and I can have my chart and like all of my yarn in front of me. So this is less of a like sitting around on the weekend kind of project for me, but yeah, I really love it. Curious if anyone else cast this on. Here's the floats. Look at the inside. I am catching floats. You definitely do need to do that in this pattern just because there's pretty long floats on some of these like solid purple sections. But yeah, getting into a little bit more of the color work now. So love it. There's the yoke. It's really, really fun. Okay, that's it for whips. Almost an hour later, no big deal. I did want to talk for a second about a couple things that I frogged recently. So speaking of the framed sweater by Andrea Mallory, after I decided I didn't like my Spin Cycle color, I restarted the color work just using like my charcoal gray and like an off-white as the contrast color. And I got through the first like motif and a half and I just wasn't interested in working on it anymore. I didn't want to pick it up. I wasn't feeling inspired by it. And I was worried that I wouldn't like the fit of the neckline ultimately and that I'd have to do some alterations on it that I really didn't feel like doing. So I frogged it. So I'm no longer making the framed sweater, which is sad because I do think it's gorgeous, but I'm hopeful maybe there'll be a different pattern in that collection, like a cardigan or something eventually that maybe I could knit. But yeah, I just decided that one wasn't for me right now. So she got frogged. I also frogged my 3 Seasons cardigan, which I have not worked on in a while. So if you've been around for a while, you might remember it. I started knitting it in like a light pink yarn that I love the yarn. I still want to knit this, I think. I saw that they're coming out with a 3 Seasons pullover. This is a pattern by Wool and Pine, and it's like a very heavily cabled cardigan pullover. So now I'm like, maybe I want to knit the pullover instead. I'm not sure. But I picked it up to start working on it again a few weeks ago and realized that I had made a mistake in my numbers. Like a couple of my lace sections weren't as wide, didn't have as many repeats as they were supposed to. And I just was having a hard time like getting back into it. So I just decided I hadn't made that much progress. I was maybe like halfway through the back panel. I just decided to frog it and that I would start over at some point. I know I want to knit that up into like a really heavily cabled garment, but I wasn't loving knitting the 3 Seasons cardigan. I think it's gorgeous, but I don't know if that's the exact right thing. So I might just hang on to it for a little while. I have it in the back of my head as something maybe to knit for like Valentine's Day, like after the new year. And the last thing I frogged was my Lily sheer top, which I probably only showed this once or twice on the podcast. It's a very cute little like bubbly top, short sleeved, that's knit with 1 strand of mohair. And I was knitting mine with this like very light purple lace weight cashmere yarn that I have. And same kind of thing, I just wasn't reaching for it. I didn't really have motivation to work on it. And the more I thought about it, I thought, I don't know how I'm gonna wear that. So I frogged it. So that's where I'm at. Got a lot of new things on the needles, got a couple things off the needles. And now let's move on to some acquisitions. Okay, so a couple weekends ago, another local crafter that I know was having a garage sale and had advertised that she had a lot of like craft supplies out, so we had to go to that and I got some great stuff, so I'm going to show you now. So one other gift project that I'm planning are to make some like microwave bowl cozies for people. I've made a few of these in the past and everyone I've made them for has been like, I'm obsessed with those. So basically it's just squares with some darts. Maybe I can try and find a picture of like what I'm talking about, that you use like cotton or, you know, natural fibers like cotton or linen fabric and cotton batting, and you make these little like bowl cozies that you can either like microwave your food in and they don't get hot, you know, like you put it around your bowl so your bowl doesn't burn you, or like just to keep, you know, if you're holding a hot bowl, it just keeps your hands safe. So at the yard sale, I picked up some little fabric remnants. So I thought I would put these two together as like the top and bottom, you know, or like one's in the floral and one's in the teal. So I usually give people like a set of 2. And I'm gonna put these together. I think I'm gonna make these for my coworkers actually and give them the bowl cozies and like a soup mix or something. And I'm gonna put these together. So I thought those were like perfect for this kind of thing. I got them for like 50 cents or $1 each or something, like a really good deal. I also got a couple of books at the yard sale. So this person works at one of the local craft stores and had a lot of really good stuff. So this is a book that came out a couple years ago that is just gorgeous. It's all about embroidery. It's called Mystical Stitches, Embroidery for Personal Empowerment and Magical Embellishment. So there's a lot of like folklore and like mythology kind of stuff. This is very cool. Look at this. So the front cover, gorgeous embroidery. The inside of the front cover is like the back of the embroidery. Isn't that cool? It's like a really nice little detail. I just thought that was gorgeous. Trying to see what some of the projects are. It just teaches you all kinds of different stitches. And then I think, I haven't had a chance to look through it too much. There's a lot of like the different symbols and like what they mean, you know, like solids and treasury of symbols, like all kinds of different things. And it's about making, like designing embroidery that's meaningful to you. You know, there's botanicals. Very cool. And then I'm assuming that there are some projects in the back. Let me see. Kind of like embroidering patchwork for bags or clothes. Embroidering the pockets of your jeans. Like, it's just a really nice touch. I am currently working on, well, I'm about to be working on a corset to wear to the Ren Fair at the end of October. And I was thinking about doing some embroidery on it, and I might have a look through here, I mean, I definitely will, to come up with the designs. So, very cool book. Got it for a really great price, and I'm gonna use that for part of my Ren Fair costume. Where to put this? Okay, I got one other book there as well. Knit, Fold, Pleat, Repeat by Norgon. And this is another one that I've kind of had my eye on for a while. Again, I haven't had a chance to look through it too much, but I know there was one pattern in here that I was super interested in knitting. And I kind of was like, oh, well, I don't want to have to buy the book just to like knit it. This one is gorgeous. I can't remember if that's the one I wanted to knit or not though. Yeah, it's such a cool book. There's like, look at the texture on this. Gorgeous. Norgon I think of as the Queen of Cables. Oh, actually, look at this pillow. That's so pretty. I'm into like home decor right now. Yeah, there's a lot of really gorgeous patterns in here. Oh, this one is cool. It's like 3D. Very cool. Anyway, you need to look through that a little bit more, but I got such a great deal on those books. And then the last thing I got there was a sweater or top, like a large top or a sweater quantity of this yarn. This is Alllll Phoenix DK. It's pure Egyptian Mako cotton. 100 grams is 273 yards, so it's a DK weight cotton. Yeah, 100% cotton, but it is a gorgeous color. It is a bit shiny. I'm guessing it might be mercerized. It doesn't say that, but I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 skeins of this, so definitely could make like a gorgeous summery kind of top out of this. Not quite sure what yet. I've been thinking about knitting the outline raglan for a while, maybe in the spring. That would be like a good use of that. And it came in this Ritual Dyes nice big project bag as well. So yeah, lots of good stuff found at the yard sale. Other things. So I had to run into one of my local yarn stores here that I don't go to that often to pick up some needles. And while I was in there, I picked up a couple minis because since I started doing summer's colorwork cuff club, I feel like I've wanted some more like little solid or tonal colors to just be able to mix into the colorwork. So I did just pick up some little minis while I was there. They're all pretty soft, but there's this kind of rosy pinky red color, light blue, light green, and kind of like a nice neutral brown. So I just grabbed those to have for like colorwork mix-ins. I also, I am a lover of Nomadic Yarns who make self-striping yarn. And I have been craving some self-striping socks. That is like one of the pairs of socks that I really want to cast on is just self-striping. I actually didn't have any more self-striping yarn in my stash. So when they posted this color on their Instagram, I had to buy it. It's called Good Luck Babe, inspired by who else but Chapel Roan. This is on their twisty sock. And I did just get a 50-gram skein. So I think I'm just gonna make some little like ankle length socks with this. So pretty. I'm obsessed with these super vibrant colors. It's very Chapel Roan, very fun. So I kind of want to cast these on like immediately. It's so fun. This is the problem with self-striping yarn. It doesn't sit around because it's so fun. So yeah, I might cast those on like, even though I have no business doing that. Oh well. Okay, just a couple more things. A few weeks ago, my sister was vending at a local market. She sells chainmail jewelry. It's very cool. I was helping her work. Actually, I wore this sweater there that day. It was its first outing. And I got a couple of bags from some of the other vendors. So the person at the stall next to us did really cute like patchwork upcycled quilting stuff, and I got this really cute tote bag from her. Very simple, it just has like a couple little quilt patches sewn on it. But I think I might save this to use for during Vlogmas for like one of my Advent projects or something. I'm not getting a yarn Advent this year, but I am gonna have some like Advent style projects. So I think one of them is gonna be a cardigan, and I think I'm gonna use this for that. Just like a nice tote bag. I feel like I can never get enough of these lately for all my knitting projects. And this other bag is from a amazing local artist. This is actually like an iPad sleeve, but I'm gonna use it as a knitting bag for socks or whatever, I don't know, but it's gorgeous. She does patchwork and like look at the applique yarn color. She like uses the color of the thread in such a cool way. So yeah, she does this amazing patchwork applique, and then it's on this pretty just like herringbone fabric. Oh, and I got some stickers from them too, actually, that I forgot were in there. But yeah, just a nice, like it's, you know, it's not like the ideal shape for a knitting bag, but for a sock or something, it'll be fine. It's just a really, really pretty bag. Okay, and I guess I may as well just show you the stickers too. That artist they like upcycle denim jackets and do that patchwork, like all different styles on the back of the jackets, and I want one of those so bad. But yeah, they just have this really cool kind of geometric art style. And this one I just thought was funny. So those are gonna get added to the filing cabinet here. Okay, last acquisition. Also Advent related. This is a very like Vlogmas preview kind of. I'm starting to gather my stuff for Vlogmas. So I did order a tea Advent calendar this year, and it's from Big Heart Tea Co., which is my favorite place to buy tea from. I'll link them below if you've never heard of them. They're women owned, excellent company. They make really good teas. I love all of their teas. They do a lot of great herbal teas, like anything you're looking for. It's not a mystery Advent, so it does tell you on the back like what you get. They don't have a super huge variety. I think you basically get like one of everything that they offer. But I just thought that would be really fun to have like a little something different every day, and this really gorgeous packaging. So that's gonna be part of my Advent and Vlogmas this year. And last but not least, this is not an acquisition. I actually just have two little things I wanted to talk about really quickly at the end. I know this has been a long one already. I wanted to give you a final update on my summer bingo. So this summer I made a bingo board for every month, and I feel like I got a lot done doing this. Towards the end, it did start to feel like a little bit more of a chore. So I did get an August bingo pretty quickly. What was in my bingo were finish my Lento sweater, that was the neon pink and white marled one. Plan my outfits for the month, which I did. Free space, sew a garment, and add cargo pockets to my Donovan skirt, which I also did. I don't know if I showed that to you guys or not. But so once I finished that, I decided I was gonna try and finish the entire board by the end of summer, which was September 21st or 22nd. That was last week. I did not finish everything. But I finished almost everything. I think there's only 3 squares that I didn't finish, so that's pretty good. I feel like this was fun and motivating for me. I am ready to retire it for the rest of the year. Maybe I'll do it again next summer. I don't know. I did think maybe next year about designing a bingo and doing it as like a cal or something. I don't know. I've never run anything like that before. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know if you guys would be interested in something like that next year, but it was just a thought that I had. And the very last thing is just that I am celebrating an anniversary for the craft night that I started hosting. So every other Tuesday, I host a craft night at a local bar, and that started last September, and it's just been the best. I am so happy that we started it together, like the owners of the bar and I, and they've been so supportive, and it's just been really wonderful to have that, you know, reliable place to go and like craft together with other people. You know, some people come every time, sometimes like there's always like people that come every time and new faces, and it's just been so delightful. And I'm really grateful to the bar. It's called Gemüt Beer Garden. They're just the best. I'm really grateful to them for hosting us and the like relationships that we've built there. And I'm just proud of myself for going out on the limb and starting that. And it's been a whole year, which seems crazy. It's gone so fast, but yeah, just to show you, like, you know, if you feel like you're missing that community, that like making community, you can make it. And I hope that you take this as encouragement to do so. If it's something you've been thinking about starting a knit night, or even just like a making group with your friends, like you should go for it. So yeah, I'm really happy about that. And I think we'll keep it going for a long time, hopefully. That is all I have today. Personal life has been very, very busy. Work has been very busy. So I've still obviously found plenty of time for making, but it has been a whirlwind. I feel like September was like the fastest month of my life. It's been crazy. Can't believe we're getting into the holiday months already. It's just unbelievable, but lots of exciting stuff ahead. We are going to Rhinebeck, as I said, in October. We are going only on Sunday, so if you happen to also be there on Sunday and see me, please do come up and say hi. I don't know how likely that is, but if you do, please do say hi. I'm really excited. I'm also a little nervous. I've never been before. I don't really know what to expect. I'm only going on Sunday because I didn't want to be super overwhelmed by the crowds. I'm also going to have non-knitters with me, and I didn't want them to be super overwhelmed, but I am very excited. And I do think I'm going to try to record another episode before we leave. So I will hopefully be back like early that week before the festival. And then I'm going to try and record like a little vlog to document our trip. So we're going to stay in Kingston in upstate New York for like 3 or 4 days. Is that right? 17, 18, 19, yeah, 4 or 5 days. So we're going to be up there for a little while. And we're going to be doing all kinds of fun adventures. So I'll document all of that, including Rhinebeck, not just Rhinebeck. So it's going to be a little vlog of our like upstate trip. So it's going to have some spooky vibes. We're going to do a haunted riverboat tour of the Hudson, which should be interesting. We're going to do like a fall foliage train ride. It should be fun. It's just a beautiful part of the country, the perfect time of year to go up there. So I am very excited. And hopefully in that video before, I'll talk about like what I'm shopping for, and maybe what I'm packing and all of that jazz. So excited for that. Do let me know below if you're planning to go to Rhinebeck this year also. Yeah, so let me know about that. Let me know what you think about my pink and red socks, if you think I should do them the same or do them different. Yeah, thank you for watching. I forget how I do my outro because it's been a minute. Yeah, I just hope you get lots of crafty time in, and I will see you all in a couple of weeks. And until then, happy making. I'll see you next time. Bye.